The next was Yin Yang, a black and white dove from the place BV, vulnerable. The third was from the Heavenly Dragon Temple, a red dragon, venerable. The fourth was from the Sky-Splitting Sword Sect, a holy sword master. The fifth was from the One Valley Rose, venerable. The last was from the Would You Set the Chanji, venerable. And suddenly, they were talking about the things of the divine fire, how strong they were, and how they would defeat the person behind all this in just a matter of minutes. And suddenly, the Demon King appeared and called them slow. They introduced themselves as the 6 warriors of the Fire Realm and didn't even realize that the deity was there. The Demon King had a strange presence around the 6 warriors, and they were afraid. Then the warrior from the Dragon Realm powered up to kill the deity, and the Demon King thought of having fun with the 6 warriors. The Fuji Cat of the realm drew his long mystical sword and attacked the deity with his mystical power, but the deity was very humble towards them and didn't use his full power. The warrior faced the sword and attacked the Demon King with full power, and he faced the sword. The great swordsman Venerable attacked the deity with a mystical sword, and everyone around him was surprised at how strong the old man was as he killed the deity in his first move. Everyone was happy, but some of them were not sure that the deity had died because in a split second, the deity arose from ashes and was furious. He just with a slash of his hand killed the old man, who fell from the sky to the ground. Everyone was shocked that he had just killed a Venerable with just a slash of his hand. The deity looked at them and smiled savagely, telling them that it was his turn. But the Venerable from Dragon Place stopped him and told him the consequences of killing them. The consequences were that each Venerable had their own sect, and killing them would have the whole sect chase him for the rest of his life. The deity had no interest and implied that if he wanted, he would kill all of the sects, as he didn't care as long as he wanted. But everyone around him stopped and started asking for mercy. Then they thought that they had lost the 6 people, and for the 5 remaining warriors, they thought that they would not be able to live if they were in this situation, so they started running away. But he couldn't let them run away, and he used his mystical, devilish power to hold them up. Just in a split second, the 5 warriors were asking for mercy, but the deity didn't grant them and killed them off with a slash. And meanwhile, in the Facian City, where Princess Yi and King Ming's battle is going on, there was chaos all over. There were blasts all over, and the soldiers are fighting all over. King Ming is asking Princess Yi to surrender, as he will grant mercy to her and spare her life, but Princess Yi's general says that she couldn't let them talk to her queen like that. King Ming was very angry regarding how the tone of the general was, but he told her that he'll ascend the throne and throw them off. However, the queen had no interest in giving up and went ahead with the war. And then all the soldiers started marching towards the fort, and suddenly, a lot of the cultivators went up, and Yi couldn't sense their energy as it was an ambush on them all. The cultivators went out to kill where the soldiers were ahead. King Ming's army got heavy on the army of the princess, and they reached towards the fortress entrance. The gate of the fortress was destroyed, and everyone was running away. The whole royal family and some ministers asked the princess to save herself from the soldiers and the king, as Ming was very ruthless and was telling everyone that he would never leave. Everyone who surrendered would also be killed, and they were laughing about how easily they won over the kingdom. But some news came over that the warriors of the 6 sects were taking a lot of time to come as they held out on some work, and they were late in coming. As the situation was critical, all the ministers asked and begged Princess Yi to get to a safe place, as they couldn't let Princess Yi get hurt. But Princess Yi wouldn't listen, and the king sent his 3 best cultivators to fight against his soldiers, and the ministers standing right in front of them. But the soldiers were so frightened for their life that they started surrendering themselves to the king. King Ming was taking pride over them, and the ministers were scared as all the soldiers started to surrender. And King Ming was very proud of himself as he won the battle and asked Yi to surrender and give the throne to him, because he was not going to stop until he wins. But Queen Yi had another plan, and she asked if he was done with all of the child's play. Then she told with a firm voice that it was nothing. These cultivators had no idea that they didn't surround them, but she surrounded them. She told how her dynasty had the greatest power, and King Ming shouldn't have forgotten who made the Shifeng dynasty strong all these years. Princess Yi's power started blowing up as she used her mystical Kai to build a huge golden dragon behind her and covered all the power. She used it on the soldiers, and they were getting head hurt as they were experiencing pain from the princess's powers and pressure. She gave a last chance to King Ming to surrender, as he could see his death in front of him and Princess Yi, but said that those who surrender would be spared. Trying to understand how she was standing with her golden dragon behind her, King Ming assumed that she was afraid of him and had no idea how to fight her now. He asked for the 6 venerables, the 6 fighters of the realm, to come and fight for him, but no one appeared. Princess Yi was standing with a golden ability, the golden dragon ability, which was something only an immortal could do. The soldiers were very afraid when they saw her power. One of Princess Yi's ministers suggested that they be careful as King Ming was very sharp and could come up with some ideas. However, Princess Yi knew that he had nothing in mind, as no one could ever face her since she had the power of the divine. King Ming then thought of sending a soldier to check on the 6 fighters, but Princess Yi killed him with the Golden Dragon ability. She then announced that a sentence would be given to King Ming for rebelling and that anyone who disobeyed the dynasty would face the same fate as him. Princess Yi was very angry, and anyone who betrayed the dynasty from now on would not be spared and would either be killed or sentenced. She used the golden technique to punish some soldiers. And then she tried to teach a lesson to the soldiers who tried to avoid her and surrender to kings, but suddenly a soldier came in front of them. But the king held an ace place upon his leave, and he brought out some cultivators in front of Princess Yi, and a lot of cultivators were using their mystical power to kill her. And they all fired up with full power at the princess, and she slashed their attack off with her golden dragon bar, and everyone was just seeing the battle, as it was so majestic of fighting between immortal and mortals. The fight was on another level. The Princess Yi still had a merciful heart, and she let the person who was trying to surrender. The soldiers were very shocked to see that Princess Yi was only 26 years old, and they were all traveling with her. Meanwhile, in a dungeon, some people are planning and plotting towards the princess, and they are planning that Princess Yi is quite powerful. And their intentions seem shady. But meanwhile, on the battlefield, King Ming is panicking everywhere as he lost the battle completely, and some soldiers come off and report to the king that there were some left pieces of the dead bodies of the 6 warriors of the realm in the jungle, and they were all dead. On the way there, they were killed. As he hears this news, which shocked him completely, that the 6 fighters of the Fire Run are dead, he couldn't believe what he heard. And Princess Yi, from the sky, is trying to observe what is so important than looking at things that he is not giving attention to his enemy, but to the news which came along. But she then couldn't take the load of thinking so much, and she just told the soldiers to clean off the battlefield. As she wanted to meet her husband and people in the city, she wanted calmness now. He ordered the soldiers to clean the battlefield and capture remaining life, and the defenders of the city would be rewarded after that. All the soldiers agreed to do the same, and they rushed towards the king to capture him alive and kill all the soldiers near him. But King Ming was trying to see all of this, but he couldn't accept his defeat, and he thought that he'd rather be dead than getting captured by the enemy. So he takes out his sword and kills himself. Princess Yi saddened up as she couldn't think of King Ming's suicide as he was getting captured by her army. She ordered a quite royal burial to a nice place for King Ming. Then the part comes where Princess Yi was trying to do for a long time. That was to meet her husband. Her husband comes home and hugs his wife as they were apart for a long time. It seemed like they were apart for a long time, and the Demon King, hugged his wife and told her that there was a curfew in the city as the war started. The Demon King tells his wife that they had a big order a few days ago, and because of this battle with the king, it got delayed, and he was going to Black Rock City to buy some ebony wood, which is a specialty there. The wife was okay with the fact that he was leaving, but she thought it was a good time for her husband to go out, as she'll take advantage of the time to approve the king's remnants in the city. It is necessary to make some noise in the city so as not to scare her husband. The Demon King says romantically that if he is not there tomorrow, he'll make it up to her. Then they both eat their food and go to bed, and then the Demon King leaves the house. The next day, as he's walking, he flinches his eye and sees someone following him, but he can't recognize, and he doesn't notice it so much. It was 4 people dressed as the Black Ops Ninja and talking about themselves that they were sent by the higher authorities to spy on the person who spies on the Demon King. But as they started talking among themselves, they lost sight of the Demon King, and he flew away. Long across, and they couldn't catch him as his speed was so beyond limits, and they blamed themselves that it was their lack of attention that left the Demon King unseen. Then he reaches 10,000 Flowers Valley, which means a long way ahead of the dynasty map, and uses his power of immortal beings that will immediately send him to the upper realm under the interference of Power of Rules. The primordial bed of Hongmang can block the power of rules from all walks of life, and he drags up to the upper realm. The Demon King enters a whole new realm that is full of flowers, and that is the 10,000 Flowers Valley, full of female cultivators bathing in fresh flowers every day. And then the female cultivators were bathing inside a pond and praising each other on attributes. Some attributes that are fragrance, smooth legs, etc. And suddenly, they saw a man cultivator on the realm.